Hey guys, it's Patrick in post-editing right now. I don't usually have a preface for these things, but this is kind of important. So this is a really, really good episode of the podcast. I talk a lot about society and deconstruct a lot of things and just life in general. And I think you guys can really get a lot out of this. But in order to get the most, you have to listen to the entire thing. The ending is really, really, really important, but you're not going to get the full effect of the ending unless you listen to the entire thing all the way through. And you're not going to understand any other part of it unless you listen to the ending. So they're kind of integral. They go together. You have to listen to the whole thing. But if you do commit to the full hour of this, trust me, it will be really worth it. Anyways, guys, enjoy. This is SmithSquad Podcast, episode 64. Hey, welcome to SmithSquad Podcast, episode 64. This is going to be another solo episode. I have done, seems like a lot of guest episodes lately, and the original intent of this podcast was for it to be mostly solo, for me to kind of kick back, get my thoughts out, talk with you guys, hang out, kind of be a grounds to share ideas and talk about stuff. And that's kind of what I feel like doing today. Now, I don't really know what this episode's going to be. It's so funny, like I every one of these I start and it feels like I have so much to talk about, yet I never know where I'm gonna go, where this is gonna end, where this is gonna lead to, but it always leads somewhere. These podcasts never fail to amaze me at what can be talked about. It always seems like there's something to talk about that I never would have even imagined when I start this. But yeah, this is going to be probably a more deep sort of talky life kind of podcast. I know a lot of you guys like these, even though I don't do them very often. So yeah, there is almost a toxic mentality out there about successful people. People who have achieved great things in life, professional athletes, billionaires, millionaires, actors, comics, whatever. Doesn't matter who. Successful people. Whoever you envision as being a successful person. There's a toxic mentality out there of people thinking that this person is successful because they're special. Because they've got some unique trait that others do not have, which allows them to overcome obstacles, allows them to overcome whatever barriers are in their way to reaching their goals. And I think that is one of the most toxic mentalities of our society today, is that we look at these people and we put them on these pedestals. We look at them as though they are supermen, as though they are these people that don't have any problems in their life, these people that all they do is work, 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 and they're just programmed to do that, and that is why they've reached their goals. And we look at these people like we could never be them because they have this unique inherent trait that we don't have, which enables us, or disables us, enables us, I don't know, from achieving whatever they have achieved. Now, in some situations, this is true. Genetics is a huge part. If you want to be a professional athlete, there's definitely a certain level that genetics plays in being a professional athlete. And even things that involve creativity. Some people have a knack for things, some people don't. When I first started playing guitar, I picked it up, and within the first 6 months, I was like, really, it's one of the things I've learned the easiest. And learning guitar sucks. But it's one of those things that I just picked up, and, I can go 6 months without playing guitar, come back to it, and I can still, rock out some cool solos and impress people and stuff. It's cool. But that's not what makes people successful. I mean, that's not what made me successful at guitar. It was the hard work I put in to get to that point where I could bring out that creativity and that drive. But I want to get back to this toxic mindset of we look at these people and we put them on a pedestal and we say, wow, this person is successful for reasons A, B, and C. And I want to vanquish that thought from your mind. If anyone out there, I'm not saying if you think it, because everybody thinks it. Everybody I know looks at these people and it creates this mental sort of this is why I can't do it. This bullshit. They tell themselves this bullshit excuses. This is why I can't do this. You don't even notice it, but everybody does it. Everybody does it. Everybody is not even a hater. You're a hater to yourself in a sense. You're enabling yourself. You're not allowing yourself to do whatever it is that you may want to do. But yeah, I wanna talk about that idea because it's so false. It's so the opposite. Superman is not special. Okay? Superman is not special. The superhero, he's not special. He's invincible. There's only one thing that'll hurt him, and that's kryptonite. We all know that. I don't want to get too deep into it, and I'm sure there's going to be some lore person out there that wants to talk way deeper. I'm looking at this at the surface. Superman is invincible. 99.9% invincible. It's easy to be Superman. It's easy to be a superhero when you're invincible. Okay? But no one's invincible. And this is what I'm getting at, is that the successful people we see in life have problems. They have issues in their life that they have to deal with daily. Maybe they're, I don't know, they have depressive tendencies. They have addiction issues. They have whatever that may be. Everybody who has achieved anything has had some sort of problem. I've kind of been in a slump the last couple days, and it's made me realize, like, it's not simply about just grinding and being, the super person, because nobody is. Everybody has problems in their life, and everybody comes to a point where they are faced with a barrier that says, I don't want to work. I didn't want to get up today. I didn't want to do anything today. I just felt like laying in bed and doing nothing. And it took a little bit of thinking for me to realize, like, yeah, there's a lot of people like this. The day Usain Bolt won the 100-meter track record, he laid in bed all day. He ate McDonald's that day, and he said he was just a slob. He was ridiculously lazy. He didn't want to do anything all day because all he could do was think about the pressure from that race. And when he got there, obviously he got there, right? That's part of the battle itself. And that's something, like I said, a lot of people don't realize. A lot of you guys might not think about that there. Like, you look, for me, it's easier for me to talk about YouTubers because I actually know this sort of industry. You look at YouTubers and you look how happy these guys are. Everything is so great because it's really, you want to put out the vibe that everything is awesome and everything is good vibes 100% of the time. As YouTubers, we only show the best side of our life, right? We only show that really happy, yeah, everything is crazy. Because that's what's entertaining to you guys. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that's what we do. And a great guy that I kind of look up to now is Markiplier. You look at his videos, and he is just so A1, excited, crazy all the time, like just very, very out there, very outgoing. But I saw him put up one video one day where he's like, having a rough day. I'm not gonna have a video for you guys today. And he seemed really troubled. And that really stood out to me because a lot of YouTubers wouldn't do that. A lot of YouTubers would, kind of hide that fact because they only like to show that one part of them. And it puts out this vibe, again, that successful people don't have issues. They don't have flaws. They're not a real person. And that's obviously false. And like I said, I'm not saying that they're bad for doing this because everyone does this. I even do this. But what I'm getting at is just the fact that you want to put out your best version of you because that's what's entertaining. And you're an entertainer at heart, right? But what gets lost in translation is that there's more to that person. We sometimes forget that, hey, this is a real person. This is not some Superman that is just happy 100% of the time and crazy, outgoing, ridiculous. This is a real human being with flaws and traits that they don't admire, and self-doubt and laziness and whatever that person may experience. Everybody's got that. Everybody's got that. Nobody is special. Nobody is above feelings. Nobody is above, I mean, unless you're a sociopath, but nobody is above flaws as a human being. And once you can realize that, it really helps for your own success path to realize, hey, I'm experiencing some resistance right now to getting to my whatever I need. And when I say resistance, I don't mean the hard work necessary to get there. That's a given. I'm talking about the underlying things that undermine your ability to work hard and your drive to work hard, those sort of things. Once you can get into the mindset where you realize that, hey, everybody experiences this, it's a lot easier to get out of it, because you say, hey, you know, successful people are successful not because they simply work hard. Successful people are successful because they have the ability to work hard regardless of their current problems. That's the difference, and that's the thing people don't realize a lot. You are not going to achieve your goals with zero resistance. You're going to have problems. And more importantly, you're going to have problems outside of the problems you face in that. You are going to have days where you just simply don't want to get up out of bed. I wanted to get up today at 8 a.m. I said, I need to get my shit together. I have had a couple lazy days. I said, like, that's my thing. Like, I'm so dumb. I streamed yesterday for 6 hours. I raised $1,000 for charity, and I'm not satisfied. And I think that's a big thing with me, is I'm never satisfied. I am sort of manic in that sense. I get so wrapped up in everything, and I'm such a perfectionist that nothing is enough for me. I'm never satisfied unless I work like a 16-hour day. And if I work a 16-hour day, I go to bed very satisfied, happy that I achieved everything. And I wake up the next day, and if I don't do that again, I'm not going to be satisfied anymore. It's a really, really weird thing for me, but that's just how I've always been. Success for me has always been based on my ability to work hard and achieve things. And I think that's also a dangerous mindset to think that way, to think that your happiness should stem from your ability to work hard. Now, don't get me wrong, self-esteem is a huge issue, and when you have a bad day, it's good to have something that you can hold on to and say, well, this is what I have, right? And YouTube is that for me. When I think like, okay, you know, whatever didn't go right, girl I liked didn't, you know, get after me, or didn't get after me. Well, I said that's so weird. You know, a girl I liked, you know, date didn't work out or whatever. Which is not the case really the past couple days or anything. But I think it's good to have something that you can hold on to, that you could say, all right, this is my thing. And I think that's almost the difference between sad days and getting stuck in a long loop of that. Is the difference is having something that you can hold on to, right? Because like I said, you know, everyone has bad days, and like I said yesterday, I kind of had a bad day, and it puts you into a funk. You know, I woke up today and I was in a funk again, and I feel better now, but it took me a bit to get out of that. And even right now, like, you know, it's like I say I feel better now, but that saying that goes against everything I just said. It took a lot to get on down here and start this up and get this going. But I'm not trying to say sound negative on why I'm saying that and why I'm putting that out to you guys, is just to let you know that there's always going to be some sort of barrier. And actually starting this, now that I'm into it and I'm in my groove, I feel a lot better. But there's always that sort of mental barrier. But anyways, what I was getting at, God, I have been sick for so long. What I was getting at is kind of like, I think a lot of, I don't want to say depression, like clinical depression, where a lot of chronic sadness, maybe, self-hatred, a lot of that I think stems from getting into one of these funks, which is normal as a human being. We all go through it. And getting into that and not having something to grab onto. Maybe you're just not where you want to be in life. You just haven't achieved what you want to achieve or whatever. And just simply not having that to grab onto, I really think, because I've never had that in my life. I've never not had something that I'm proud of, whether it be my grades. Now it's kind of turned into my YouTube channel more than my grades. And even the great friends that I have in life, it really, there's always been something I can cling to when I have a bad day. I could say, well, at least I have this, right? At least I have whatever. And something just to kind of set your mind at ease and push off the self-doubt. And getting back to it all, that's, I think there's a balance between success, and I don't think being successful makes you happy. I really don't, but I think it makes you less sad. And I think that's the same thing with money. I'm kind of fortunate that at the age of 19, I've realized it's only taken me 19 years to realize that money doesn't make you happy. A lot of people get sucked into that trap where at the age of 18, their parents tell them they're going to go to school, and they go to school because that's what everybody else does. And they go to school, and then they get out of school, and now they're in $80,000 student debt, and they are no better off with no more skills and no better job than they would have got had they just gone straight to work out of high school. So they go back to graduate school and get even more debt and pick up a job that they kind of like, but not really, once they finish graduate school, and then work for maybe 10 to 20 years, get to a pretty high spot in whatever job they are. And then they're making big bucks and realize, oh, I've just been chasing the carrot on the string this whole time. And I'm really fortunate that I haven't had to go through that, and I didn't have to go through that. And I knew at a young age about that, and I'd always been told about that. But it's a lot different when you realize it for yourself of, whoa, there's no amount of money in the world that's going to make me happy. We've got a weird thing, us human beings. I like to compare this to kind of like abilities. Like, in a video game, your character might have an ability, like in Pokemon. The Pokemons, I don't play a lot of Pokemon anymore, but I used to. And your character would start with an ability. It would have like, when your health is low, your attack goes up or whatever. And I think as humans, one of our neutral abilities, so it's not a positive, absolutely positive, but it's a neutral trait that we have, is the ability to adapt, right? So how do you feel today? Pretty normal, right? How would you feel if I gave you $1 million? Pretty awesome, right? How would you feel in a month after giving you that $1 million? Probably pretty normal. The first excitement of a change in equilibrium might bring about some euphoria, some happiness, but after a while, everything's going to balance back out to zero. You're going to feel pretty normal. And that's kind of the thing that sucks about humans, is that we're never satisfied for very long, because the second we get something, whatever we want, equilibrium. About a month ago, I gained, I think, 9,500 subscribers in 2 days. The best growth my channel's ever had. I was pretty happy for a couple days. And then equilibrium. And then I went back down to 3,000 subscribers a day, which is still the greatest thing that's ever happened to my channel. And I got used to 3,000. And then now the hype's kind of dying down from Black Ops 3. Things are going back down, and I'm going 2,000. And then I had a 1,700 subscriber day. 2 months ago, that was better than, that was like high average. That was like, all right, we had a good day today. And yesterday I saw that and I got scared. I got panicked. I said, oh my God, like, is my channel dying? 1,700 people subscribe to me. 1,700 human beings. Like, you couldn't fit this, let alone in this room, in this house, you couldn't fit 1,700 people. I don't even know if you could fit 1,700 people in my backyard, and I've got a pretty big backyard. What I'm getting at is we have the ability to adapt, and it's a good thing. it's a good thing, because although I'm saying like if I gave you $1 million, you'd feel normal. If you lost your house, or I don't know, if you suffered a very great loss, eventually you'd be able to feel normal. And again, you say normal and they're like, oh, well, it wouldn't be normal, like it'd be worse. But we have the ability as humans to adapt to whatever situation we're in, and make and get into the mindset of this is normal. We all do it. Like, you have a death of a family member. At first it sucks, it's terrible. I think about my grandfather, like, just normal to me now. He's dead. It's just, I'm never gonna see him again. And that sounds awful, right? But I'm sure you guys have dealt with the death. Like, at first it's bad, and then it just gets normal. And I'm not trying to sound pessimistic or anything, but a very great trait about human beings is the ability to adapt. It's not bad, it's not good though, because it allows us to go through terrible tragedy. So that's the good side of it. But it also, because here, let me rephrase this. I don't want to end on that terrible death note. Okay, to make this sound more positive, would you rather feel right now how you feel about a death that was 2 years ago, or imagine if you still felt the way you did like the moment you heard that someone close to you died, right? Think about how much better you feel about that death now. You've moved on. You've accepted that person is in a better place now. That person, you know what? Like, that person is fine. That person is fine now. I miss them, but that person is fine. You probably feel a lot better about it now, right? How glad are you that you don't still feel like you did that first moment you heard that person died, right? That's what's so great about us as human beings. We have the ability to adapt and feel better about things eventually. But on the other end, positive things sometimes turn to not so amazing anymore. And I think that's just always coming down to our wants are endless. We're never going to not want. And it's all comes back to, like I said, the carrot on the string of when you're in grade school, elementary school, people say, hey, go to, get good. Well, it's not about getting good grades at that point. But I remember, like, in grade 6, 7, 8, I was already getting pushed on me that I need to get good grades. And I was a really good student, keep in mind. Like, I've always been like 4.0 GPA, like just the typical smart kid in the class. I've always been that typical smart kid that nobody liked because he did well. And really, I mean, it's just a hater mentality, but at a young age you don't realize that, and it's just kind of like, oh, he always gets good grades. And I didn't brag about it. I didn't tell anybody. If I got 100 on a test, I just kind of hide it. I was very humble about it. But there is something that's like, oh, that kid that gets good grades, right? I was always that kid, okay? I was always that kid in high school. And it's kind of weird to look back and reflect upon that and be like, that system worked for me, right? That system of, oh, you need to get good grades now worked for me. But now that I can look back on it and reflect upon it, I think that was a terrible system. Because yes, it encouraged you to get good grades, but I'm realizing now that there's so much more to life than just getting good grades and just chasing that carrot on the stick. And I don't even know what the point of anything is. Does that make sense? But at grade 6, it's like, all right, you got to get good grades. And they'll let you into the, what was it? It was a French program. It was like a higher French program. So there was like core French, which was just like one class a day. And then there's like immersion French, which is like almost every class in French. And I took one where it was like 30% of your day in French. And it was like, this is what you want to get into, so you can kind of learn French, and it'll help you as a kid, because you'll actually you'll know a second language, and that's beneficial to you. And to get into this in grade 7, in grade 6, you should probably have good grades. We'll let anyone in, but if you want to get in, we're only really going to recommend the people with good grades. It seemed like if you had bad grades, they would kind of discourage you from going into that. And then in grade 7, you're there. And I feel like grade 7 was like, French and whatever, and then grade 8 came around, and then grade 9 came around, and it was math. Math was the thing. In grade 9, well, if you want to get into the good math class in grade 10, you didn't have to, but again, it was like really, this is like a strong indication that you should be taking this. So I remember I was like one of the best people at math in my grade, and they said, well, you know, I even had the head of the math department in high school call me up and say, hey, you should take the highest math course. I said, I don't want to take the highest math course. And he's like, but you know, you have the good grades for it. You should push yourself. You should do this. And yeah, I'm all for pushing myself with things I wanted to, but math was just math. I think math was like my one talent, my one natural talent that I didn't have to work for. If anything in my life that I say, math was just a thing that I was naturally pretty good at. And I hated it. Math is boring. It's stupid. There's some math that's okay, but I never really liked math. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is, like, I don't know. I felt like in grade 9 you had to get good grades so you could get into the higher level course in grade 10. And then in grade 10 you should get good grade, you know, up until grade 10. At grade 10, your grades still don't matter for university. It doesn't even matter for university. And then you get into grade 11 and they say, these grades count for university. They don't really. They kind of do, but it's like no university would ever accept you on good grade 11 grades and bad grade 12 grades. You need good grade 12 grades. If your grade 11 marks aren't great, that doesn't matter. They'll look, oh, your grade 12 marks were really good. We're going to let you into university now. Yeah, it's going to affect you a little bit, but what really matters is your grade 12 marks. But in grade 10, you got to get good marks in case the university is going to look at them. They don't. They don't even ask for them. Grade 11 comes around. Well, these kind of matter. Okay, we're getting into heavy territory. Grade 11, right? It just this whole, like, do you know the teacher, like, I'm going to give you guys really hard work. Oh, I wish I had said it this way, all right? In grade 6, there was this really difficult teacher that gave you, like, this stupid book report. And she goes, I'm going to give you guys this because I need to prepare you for grade 7, because grade 7, it's going to be really hard, so I need to just give you this hard work now, and in grade 7, you'll be more prepared. And grade 7 came around, and it wasn't that much harder than grade 6, or really, but what she said was, I need to make this harder so you guys are prepared for grade 8, because grade 8's where they really step it up. Every single year I've been told this until I got to university. And then I get to university and no one gives a shit about anything. The professors are chilled. The professors want to help you out. The professors are here for the now and the moment. But what I'm saying is every single year, okay, was I need to prepare you for next year. And we don't need to focus on now. We always need to look to the future. Don't even look at now. This doesn't matter. Worry about tomorrow, which doesn't even exist. It just gets to the point of, like, what even matters? And you finally get to university and they're like, now matters. But it's like grade 6 to 12 was just, you need to prepare for next year. But preparing for next year, only to get to next year where they tell you to prepare for the next year, is the carrot on the string. We need to live in the present. Did you get me? The present moment is literally the only thing you have. The only thing that you have that exists in the universe that we know is this current moment. Right now, it's gone. That will never exist ever again. Me saying right now in that exact moment will never exist ever again. It's gone. The only thing you have is now. So stop thinking about anything other than this very, very present moment. You are watching this podcast right now. You are listening to me. Don't think about tomorrow. It's hard. We're human beings. We have flaws. All that you have is right now. So stop thinking about what you're going to do in 5 minutes. It's so hard. I'm guilty of it. It's so hard. All we have is tomorrow in our minds. But we don't. All we have is right now. Felt good to get that off my chest. Anyways, this all comes back to, there's that whole 7 years of tomorrow, and you finally get to university, and, like, I feel like now you're finally kind of in the moment. But isn't university is preparing for undergraduate is preparing to get your graduate, and your graduate is preparing to get a job, and then you finally get a job, and then you're trying to get a promotion, and you're trying to get another promotion, another promotion, another promotion, and you finally reach that point where you're making the big bucks. You can support your family. You know, you're making a nice 6-figure income. Things are going good for you. And the thing that you got to ask yourself, and you know, a lot of people like to avoid this question, is are you happier now than when you were through that entire journey? And did you take in that present moment of now, or were you always looking to tomorrow's another day, to close one step closer to that promotion? Always looking tomorrow, 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 tomorrow. Never living in the present moment. Never really being able to say, I am nothing but this current moment. It's a hard thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do. And I'm guilty of it sometimes. I've worked on it. I've worked on it a lot. Of this is what I have. Be happy with this. Don't look to tomorrow. Because we fool ourselves. This is the thing we do. We fool ourselves with tomorrow will be happier. And that makes us happier today. Because we look to tomorrow like, or maybe not even tomorrow. That's maybe a bad example. I should think maybe more long-term of, I'll be happier when I get that raise. And then that makes us a little bit happier inside, knowing we have something to look forward to. We get that raise and we're no happier. It's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle. I just think, I don't know what I think. I mean, I have an awesome job. I am so lucky. The other day I woke up and like, I was on Reddit and it was like, I just saw something on Ask Reddit about jobs and it's like, what do you do for a living? It wasn't that, but like, it was like, anyways, the answer like I would have answered is I kill zombies for a living. That's pretty freaking cool. Okay? That's pretty freaking cool. I am so lucky. And that's helped me to realize a lot of things. But I think something about working... Yeah, I'm going to get deep on you guys, all right? I'm going to get deep on you guys. I think a lot of our life is spent avoiding the bigger questions of why we are here, why we exist, why anything at all exists. And you don't really have a lot of time to answer that kind of stuff when you're so balls to the wall, floored with work that you're dead on your feet. The busiest time in my entire life, I want to say it was this year at university, but it wasn't. The busiest time, that was the most hardworking, but there's a difference between working hard and being busy. So being busy means all hours of your life are consumed. Hardworking means maybe not working as many hours and having many as hours filled up, but those hours that you work are spent being productive. Like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. Mama Smith. Where's my mindset going here? The flow has been interrupted. What was I talking about? Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So yesterday I did a live stream for 6 hours. 6 hours really isn't that much. I mean, most people work 8 hours a day, 8-9 hours a day. 6 hours, someone would look at that and say, oh, must be nice playing video games for 6 hours. But the difference between, like, I mean, I've worked a job before, and I know sure as hell that I did not work as hard at my job as I do at YouTube. Because YouTube is my thing. YouTube is mine. And if anything's going to get done on my channel, it's got to be me putting the hours in. So, I don't know. If there was, like, a measurement for work units, let's say, I don't know, like, a live stream, or let's say a video takes 100 work units. I can BS all day and you know, work at 10 units an hour, and that'll take me 10 hours. But I got way more stuff to do than that. So I gotta grind at like 50 work units, which I don't know what that could possibly be. I'm just making things up right now. But like 50 work units an hour. So I get that done in 2 hours. So I just worked way more efficient, but way more harder for 2 hours so I can get that done, right? So like doing this podcast, like I don't want to say this, like a lot of stuff I do isn't like non-enjoyable work, but you do have to be on the ball. Your brain is really, really on when I'm doing anything. And doing a live stream for 6 hours, when you're just on for 6 hours, you have to be entertaining, you have to be focused into the game, you have to be replying to people, you have to be really mentally draining, right? But there's a difference between that, just working really hard and being kind of exhausted, versus being busy your entire day. So grade 11, busiest time of my life, and I hated every waking moment of it. I was in my first year. It was my hardest semester at school. I had English 11 advanced, so an advanced English course, advanced math course, chemistry 11. Chemistry is my crutch to society. I suck at chemistry. I failed grade 12 chemistry. And yoga 11, my one break within the day. That was the only thing that kept me going through that semester, was yoga 11. 3 really hard courses, yoga 11. That's not that bad though. So I go to school, I do that, whatever. Pretty mentally draining, but I had that yoga to break up my day. And then I hit football. The football was probably 3 hours a day, every day. Physically draining, yeah, but it was a nice break from the two. Then sometimes after football, I'd have to go and work at 6:30, and that would usually take me 2 hours. So that, I don't know, 2.5 hours. So I don't know. Let's say like, what would that be? Maybe, I don't know, like maybe 3 days a week I'd have to work. I was also running a YouTube channel on top of that. Now, it wasn't to the extent of which I run it today. I think I uploaded maybe 3 or 4 videos a week, so it wasn't an everyday thing. But it was a very busy time in my life, plus homework. So I had no free time for like 3 months, and then football stopped, work stopped, so that kind of opened up some free time. So I just had school. But those like first 3 months of my grade 11 year in high school, busiest time in my life. When you're really busy like that, you don't really have time to think about anything. You just kind of, you don't have time to look back of where you're going. You almost are just trapped in the momentum of going forward and just keeping up with all the stuff you have to do. And that's good for a lot of people, because you don't have time to ask the bigger questions in life of, am I truly happy? Am I satisfied with where I'm going? Where you're going, you don't even know where you're going. You're just so flat out busy, you don't have time to think about anything. Let alone, why am I even on Earth? What is the point of this random journey through the universe? You don't have time to think about that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be completely honest. Because now I do YouTube, I have a lot more free time, a lot more unconstructed time. And don't get me wrong, I'm working a lot, but at the same time, I feel like I have a lot more free time, and it gives me time to think about things, right? It gives me time to think about, like, am I truly enjoying my life right now? Why do I have days where I'm upset? Why? And just that kind of stuff. I don't want to get too much into it, but you think more. You think more when you have more free time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really don't, and I want you guys to share your ideas on this, because I don't know. I don't do this podcast like I know what I'm talking about. And I put that out there for you guys, that I'm just really coming to loss of words here. Not that I'm out of ideas, I just don't know how to put this. I am on this journey just as anyone else is. And I like to put my ideas out there, what I know, what I think I've seen. But I am just as lost as anyone else. And I think adults like to think that they've got things figured out way more than they really do. Because don't you remember when you were young and you would sit around and think like, hey, I can't wait to be an adult. I am going to have everything figured out. I'm going to be the boss. I'm going to be able to do whatever I want. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not an adult, but I'm close to an adult than I've ever been, and technically society would kind of accept me as an adult. Maybe I'm a little too hard on myself. I guess technically people would say, yes, he's 19, he's an adult. Yeah, right. But what I'm getting at is, I'm getting closer to getting to that age where I am now a responsible adult, and I guess you could argue that I am right now. I might disagree, but I'm getting there, right? I'm getting there. And the older I get, the more I realize that no one has a clue over anything. Because I like to think that I'm a lot more introspective than most people. I think so, anyways. I think that I like to take the time to think about my actions and really think about like the long term of like, where am I heading in life? What are my goals? Am I actually happy? And I think a lot of adults just like to say, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Because they're insecure. I'm insecure. Everybody's insecure to some extent. But people like to put on this persona that they know what's up so that they don't look like... So that they fear... I don't know what that fear is. What is that fear that people do? That like it's like I know exactly what I'm doing, right? I know where I'm going in life. It's this insecurity and it's this defense mechanism I think that they put out there to say like, "Oh, are you judging me? Like I need to go over and beyond to show the fact that I know what I'm doing in life so that you wouldn't think I don't know what I'm doing in life, right?" I mean, like my best example of this that I see in the world is kids at university. I see people, I mean, I'm a kid at university, but I see people at university and it's like, for example, psych majors. If you're a psych major, I don't want to hate you, but I know a couple girls who are psych majors. And one is graduating next year and it's like, so what are you going to do with that psych major? And you get a very defensive response when you ask that question. And obviously I wouldn't ask it like that. I'd say, so yeah, what are you thinking about doing? And you get like I said, you get a very defensive, not offensive, but defensive, like, oh, well, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And it's like, you're not gonna do anything with your psych major. Like, I'm sorry, but in Canada anyways, if you want to do psychology, you have to get your PhD. So it's like, all you're really gonna do is be like, I don't know, something that's not really related to psych at all, which is always the funny thing. People get these degrees and then they get jobs that aren't related to their major, and it's like, why did you go to university then? What is university? Is university a sham? I really feel like university is a sham at this point. I feel like it's this momentum that where everybody is driving and no one has time to stop and think, wait, why are we all doing this? Education is important, and I think that university needs to be refined. Schools need to be refined. We give the university way too much power, okay? Universities are businesses. That's all it is. It's a corporation like Apple. If a university provides you with a bad service, they don't give you the good learning experience, can you get your money back? No. Can you get anything back? No. They say, oh, sucks for you. I had a professor this year. I go to Acadia University, and I'm not afraid to say this. I go to Acadia University. I had a professor who was an alcoholic. He showed up drunk every single day to class, and I almost failed the course because he sucked balls. That's a pretty bad service, okay? If you... I don't know, if you went to like a theater or something or like some performance and the guy was drunk and it sucked and you paid $10, would you be like, yeah, I'd like my money back? Yeah, you'd probably want your money back. But universities, you can't do that, because universities put on this persona that they have the power. They can kick you out of their school if they want to, so they have the power, right? So yeah, I had this professor, he was drunk, he sucked, he did nothing, and a whole bunch of people emailed him, and I didn't email the school. Like, they didn't email him, but they emailed the head of the economics department, and I didn't do that because I knew so many people that did. I was like, what's the point? Like, there's just one more email. I don't want to bother them. But so many people emailed him, and it's like, I don't think anything came about that, Like, hey, sorry, you got a terrible service, right? That's my thing about universities, is we've given them, at least we all believe that they have this power. That it's like, no, you know who has the power? Are the students, because the students pay. The students pay the money. And I think it's like anything else in life. It's like the middle class, like the not rich people, because middle class is a really vague term nowadays, but the not rich people have the power, but they're too insecure to realize it, right? The 290,000 people, 90 million people in America, I should say, that's the vote, right? They can vote to overthrow things, and they can do whatever they want. If they don't like things, they really have the power to do things. But because there's this like idea that, well, these people have the money, they have the power, it's like, no. And that's how I feel like university is, right? I'm getting so just out there right now, and like I said, I'm just throwing thoughts and ideas. I don't know anything, but universities, they act like we can do whatever we want, and it's like any other situation, any other business. If I paid for something and it was a terrible product, doesn't matter if whoever made it was drunk or something, but if I bought an iPhone, if I bought one of these and it came shattered like it is in the box, or didn't work, Samsung would probably send me a new one. If I got it in the box, it didn't work. Show up, it doesn't work. Universities don't have to do that. Okay, universities just, it is what it is. Sucks for you. You got a bad service. What? I'm paying you. I'm paying you for a service. You are not. I don't know. It's so crazy. And the reason they can do that is because, number one, you got no money. You're in debt to them, right? Number two, they can kick you out at any time. So you're not going to complain because they do have the power in that sense, even though you are the ones paying them. If you didn't pay them, they wouldn't be able to do anything, right? I don't know. It's just ideas, man. All this podcast is ideas. This is not statements, facts. It's maybe an opinion, but it's just ideas. It's just observations about the life, the universe, not the universe. Well, part of the universe, which is this planet. Here's a weird idea. Okay. Here's a very weird idea. I don't even know how to throw this idea out here without sounding really crazy, but this idea fascinates me beyond measure. I'm sick. How am I sick? It's okay. Okay. What's in this? Here, this is how I'm gonna go with this. What is in this chapstick? Chap stuff, plastic, a little bit of ink on that. All right, break it down further. What is that stuff made out of? All right, well, let's look at the plastic specifically. Plastic is some sort of fossil fuel that's been hardened down. I don't really understand how plastic's made. Let's go deeper than that. Plastic is simply atoms. This is just atoms at the end of the day, which is made up of smaller things, but we're just going to stick with atoms. Just atoms assembled in a certain way that allows it for it to hold a different arrangement of atoms, which happen to be good for going onto my lips, right? Whatever. Atoms. What are rocks? They're just atoms. Everything is just, you break everything down, it's just the basic. You guys probably think I'm so crazy, but I don't know. Like I said, it's just ideas, man. It's just ideas. Lots of ideas, no answers. But rocks, dirt, air, everything is just broken down in the smallest building blocks. Besides things smaller than atoms, which, whatever. It's just atoms. It really just is little tiny things. And there are like billion... I don't even know, billions times, like a billion times a billion times a billion. I don't know how many atoms are in this, but there's a lot, right? There's a lot, but they're there. What I'm getting at is that's all the universe is, right? There's empty space and there's atoms. Different atoms, carbon, whatever. And for the most part, when you build atoms together, you get rocks. I mean, that's my understanding. I mean, most of stuff out there is either rocks or gas. Like the sun is fire, but it's just burning atoms, right? A lot of rocks, you know. We're on a rock right now. We're on a pretty big rock. Mars is a rock. The moon's a rock. I don't know. Then you get out there, you get Saturn. That's just a bunch of gas together. That's whatever. All that stuff is like whatever. Like it's just a rock. We are that, okay? It's weird to wrap your head around, but all people are the exact same things that make up rocks, okay? Maybe not rocks, but carbon, right? Carbon is what we are mostly made of. Carbon. I'm going to Google this real quick. Composition of people. Elements. Composition of the human body. All right. Oh, my bad. Oxygen. Oxygen because we're a lot of water, aren't we? Right. Okay. We're carbon-based life forms, though. So we're 65% oxygen. All right. So we're 65% of gas. We're 18.5% carbon. That's the same stuff that makes diamonds. My diamond. What? How is this? How is this the same stuff that makes diamonds? Hydrogen. That's like a really light gas that lights on fire. You can't light me on fire. Nitrogen. Calcium. Okay, I see the calcium. That's the first thing that actually makes sense. Well, actually, oxygen and hydrogen together make water. Even that blows my mind. The fact that you can take one gas, another gas, stick them together, you get water. What? Okay, but calcium's the first real, like, tangible thing that's like, alright, there's some calcium right there. Calcium in my bones, I guess. I kind of see that. Phosphorus, I don't know what that is. Potassium, that's in Gatorade. Sulfur, doesn't that smell funny? Sodium, chlorine, you put those together, you get, or sodium chloride, that's salt, right? Sodium nitride? No, sodium chloride. Magnesium. Alright, so what I'm getting at is all these random things that none of them really have any concrete, like, meaning. Like, what are these, right? None of them really make sense to me, at least. I can see them. You know, I can go to chemistry class and see the beaker. Here's some, you know, here's some phosphorus. Here's some potassium. Here's a little bit of carbon in the form of lead, graphite. None of that is alive. None of that moves. None of that does anything. But when you take all these things and put them together in the right order, that is a human being, you get a moving, breathing, alive being. You get an aware being. You get a sentient thing. How does that make sense? You have all these random things, right? Mostly it just makes rocks, water if you're really lucky. This planet has water. Most places don't have water. A lot of it just kind of sticks together in gas because of the gravity. All that stuff. And if you put it all together randomly, it makes people. How is that a thing? How does that work? Okay? If it's like, it literally is like, if I gave you Lego blocks, could you make a thing that thinks? No, you couldn't ever. That's all we are. We're like a bunch of Lego blocks that have been stacked the right way to create consciousness. How fucking cool is that? How awesome is it to be at one of those things? Congratulations, you are a person. If you can hear this, you have been stacked the right way to become a person. Sentient and alive and one. But the coolest thing about that I like to think, the most craziest idea ever, is that you are like that rock, okay? All of it is just together to form the universe. And all people are a fragment of the universe discovering itself, okay? And that sounds really weird, I know, to think like, well, no, I'm a person. This pen is different from me, from that tree out there. And even the things around on our earth are pretty normal to us. Like a tree's alive, kind of. A tree's growing. But think of Mars. Like, how much different are you? Like, you versus Mars. You don't seem very similar. You're all the same. You're all made of the same things at the end of the day. You all compose, when you all take up everything that is around, everything that exists in our realm of whatever, everything that exists, right? You take that, you get one universe. We are the universe. Not only are we the universe, and this is the coolest thing ever, we are the universe discovering itself. We are a fragment of the universe that has realized itself. The universe, like, I should put it this way. The universe has discovered itself, right? Mars hasn't discovered itself. Mars hasn't discovered the rest of the universe. Mars is the universe, though, right? Mars is a very small piece in the puzzle that makes the entire universe. We are also one of those. You are one. I am one. That tiny piece in the puzzle that makes up the whole universe. But you have discovered yourself. The universe as a whole has discovered itself. How bizarre is that? Now, I just want to say that's not my original idea. Podcasts, man. Podcasts. Joe Rogan. Duncan Trussell. Trying to think of other like really deep podcasts. Oh, those are the two that come to my mind right now. But it's weird, man. It's a weird thing to think like, just that idea that you can make rocks with that, or you can make something that's aware of itself and conscious and creates more things. I don't know, guys. There's that, but then there's also us, people. And bringing it back to everything, I think we're just here to simply enjoy life. I think life is so random. The fact that anything exists at all, like, why does anything exist? I'm not talking like, I mean like space itself. And I don't mean like space like you think like out there, but like this little area, anything ever. Why? You know, you always like, you see things where like people break the universe and then it's just like them and another guy in infinity and it's just this white space of everything. Not even that. Like that doesn't even exist. Nothing. Why does anything exist ever? It all seems pretty random at the end of the day. And upon realizing that, you could think, well, hey, we're on a pretty random journey, but at the end of the day, why are we here? No one really knows. So you may as well make the most of it. You may as well enjoy it. And that's it. That's the only thing we know. We don't know why we're here. We don't know our purpose. We don't know anything, really. So all we can do is just enjoy this ride while it lasts and be around awesome people, be good vibes, be a nice person, help others, live in the present moment. all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, be a positive impact on the world. And SmithSquad Podcast 64, if you watch all to the end, we've gone full circle. We've brought it back together. We've dissolved the universe, reassembled it in a better way. This has helped you at all, I hope. I'm glad I could help you. I've helped myself think about some things. So, yeah. Be a good person. Live in the present moment. Help others. Surround yourself with positive people. And number one rule of all, we're going so full circle back to like episode 26 of the podcast. Maybe 26. Don't be a cunt. If you know, you know. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go. This has been really good for me. Thank you so much. The mood change in the last hour, you've probably seen it. Oh my God. All right, cool. Good vibes. This is why I do the podcast. I will see you guys later. Peace.